Have you ever wondered what it's like to have a sleepover inside of a castle? Luckily for me, I never had to imagine that, for I have actually lived in a modern equivalent of a castle. I, of course, mean, drumroll please, an MSG Factory! Wait, don't go! I bet you at least want to know how MSG is made, right? Think of all the intrigues, the mystery. Will baby me be crushed under another piece of machinery? Can I resist the call of the umami? Have I suffered brain damage as a child? The answer will surprise you. Back when I was a wee gal in elementary, my best pal Don had always had my back. Even though he was pretty skinny and even shorter than I was. We went on many adventures in our school days, climbing monkey bars, eating edible flowers, and dumpster diving. You know, the sort of things normal kids do at school. Yeah, our school is definitely far from luxury. So we were saying below safety standards. Now, for that story for another day. All you need to know is that my BF and I were super tight. And it was thanks to that bond that I was able to experience one of, if not the most epic sleepovers in my entire life. I remember riding that van as if it was yesterday. At the time, I had no clue where Don actually lived. For all I knew, we were just driving to our normal house in the suburbs. So I just sat there in the backseat with my BF, surrounded by some serious-looking adults. Now, I never sat in the van with this many strangers before, I don't know why, but it, for some reason, made me feel real important. Like a noble princess leaving her kingdom against her father's wishes to venture forth with her royal knights. But before I could daydream any further, we were there. The factory was large and imposing. As we pulled up, I honestly thought it was a castle of some sort. Lo me being raised up in a small town, the tallest building I've seen up to that point was probably our school. So, stepping into that place was an experience. 5 layers of concrete floors and metal railings, half surrounding the entrance courtyard, with skylights shining through the dusty panels in the ceiling. Shapes of people passing around constantly like a shadow puppet. I felt like I was the size of an ant. What was that? This is where you live? Yeah. Dude, that's freaking awesome! Apparently, Don's whole family live and work in a factory. Along with the normal factory stuff you'd expect to see, all the living essentials were there as well. We spent hours just touring the whole factory. Every crack and crevices Don and I were allowed to explore, we did. There were close to 100 doors that we passed by. I remember a room with big window and a giant TV for Don's parents, a tiny sleeping room that Don and I were supposed to share with his grandpa and aunt, but eventually decided against it due to our aforementioned rowdiness. Oh, and a variety of broom closets. So many brooms. As to the places where we weren't allowed to explore, well, let's say there's a reason that not everyone likes to know how the sausage gets made. I kid. The process of making MSG is actually pretty safe and boring. All it really is a fermenting of sugar canes and corn. Kinda like how alcohol is made. What I can remember from that day were just the shapes of a bunch of machineries that I had no idea of what for. Honestly, the only bad thing I can say about MSG is that they usually dry my mouth up real good after eating them. After we were all good and tuckered out for our missed adventure, it was dinner time. We gathered around the small table by the entrance for a royal feast, which, in this case, were a bunch of lettuce wraps in a red plastic basket. Now, my lame adult memory may be blurry on the exact contents in those wraps besides... pepper. One thing I do remember was what I felt like chopping down all those fresh, crunchy leaves. I felt like a king! Okay, maybe not. But What I did feel, though, was a sense of belonging. Like I had always been a part of their family, long before I have ever stepped foot into that castle. It was beautifully snowy on the day I had to go. Sadly, we had to keep our goodbye short since it was still a school day. On our way out, Don's parents bought us a warm bag of peeled chestnuts. But as we drew further and further away from our metal castle, the chestnuts eventually turned cold. Then somehow kind of bitter. 'Cause really, I had only one thought. I am going to miss this. I don't remember how many days I stayed with Dawn, but throughout the trip, they never asked a single penny from me or my family, even though they very well could have. Hey, Dawn, wherever you are, take care of yourself and your folks for me, will ya? And thank you all for the best sleepover ever.